It is Friday, January 24th, 2025. This is another playoff edition of Football Today is presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spice rum of the NFL. Championship weekend has arrived. I got a couple of dudes very excited. Bobby Skinner, Justin Penik, producer Connor is super excited. I am Chris Rose. I am super excited. It's the best weekend of the year, according to Bobby
Mm-hmm.
Skinner. Right,
You
right, right,
that was
right.
that was my opening line. It's the best weekend of the year in football. So very excited for it.
All
Excited to
right.
be at Mobile, Alabama, sitting on
Mm.
the second floor of our Airbnb. Isn't that right, Justin?
Maybe the first.
Watching the games. I'm excited for it.
Wait, you're going to be. Oh, wow, you're already going to be down there for the games?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna be ready to roll.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is
we'll be
going to be
streaming
great.
on this channel, and then all next week we'll have day one, day two, and day three Senior Bowl recaps. So get ready for it.
I love it. I'll be checking it out. But let's talk a little bit about the title games, if you don't mind. And let's start with the nightcap. 6:30 Eastern, Buffalo at Kansas City. It's the fourth time in the last 5 years that they are going head-to-head in the playoffs. This one for a berth in Super Bowl 59 down in New Orleans. A lot of people feel like Buffalo is certainly talented enough to win. Kansas City feels like every game is close. Bobby Skinner, what can push Buffalo over the hump this time?
Oh man, it's tough to say because I feel like these teams are very close. I feel like they become more similar as this rivalries went on. Um, I think they got to figure out a way to shut down Travis Kelce again. They held him to 2 catches for 8 yards in the regular season victory over him. So they're going to have to try and shut down Travis Kelce and force Mahomes to go the other ways. But the reality is creating turnovers. The Chiefs have not had a turnover since when? Since that Bills game, and Patrick Mahomes had 2 interceptions in that game. They're going to have to create turnovers because if the Chiefs don't turn over the ball, I just trust them to outslug the Bills in this one.
That's a good point by Bobby, because one of the things that I'm thinking of, this is almost simple for me this weekend, where especially in the AFC, these two teams are so good. Where what it kind of came down to in that divisional game with the Bills and the Ravens is the Bills played kind of a perfect game. The Ravens made mistakes. The Bills didn't really make a lot of mistakes, right? So these two teams are so evenly matched, and they both do certain things very, very well that it kind of just may come down to the old time saying in football, whoever's going to make the less amount of mistakes and win the turnover battle, that's who's going to kind of come on top. And that's boring analysis, but kind of true, right?
Yeah, listen, it's true in the cases of these particular teams. It's a cliche when it's every other matchup, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But the Bills had only 8 giveaways this season. That's the fewest by an NFL team since at least 1950, and they've continued that in January as well. They haven't given the ball up in 2 playoff games. In the meantime, you mentioned the streak, Bobby Skinner. The Chiefs have gone 8 straight games without a giveaway. That is the longest streak in a single season since at least 1950. So what I think we have to do is almost put the turnover stuff to the side. Like if it happens and one quarterback turns it over 2 or 3 times, then yes, we know that it's going to sway the game. I look at Buffalo and I say, does Josh Allen have to be Superman this week? He didn't have to be last week. He had less than 150 total yards. The defense obviously forced a couple of turnovers. They did enough offensively. He scored on a couple of goal line runs, and that was the difference. Now, do we see that happening this time around? Can the Bills actually win on the road in Kansas City against an elite defense and a two-time defending Super Bowl champ without putting on his cape, Bobby?
No, no, because I think the Chiefs are gonna win, but like you said, because Spags is gonna come after him, right? They're gonna blitz, or at least that's what he's done against Josh Allen, except for last year's playoff matchup. So maybe Spags backs off, and that's you limit Josh Allen in a sense. But even if they do that, then we need to see Josh Allen run the ball, and the Bills continue to run the ball. But Josh Allen's gonna have to take advantage of every pass attempt, continue to get those big plays in the air, which he was able to do in that first matchup with the Chiefs. Yeah, we need a great Josh Allen game, right? As we talk about this rivalry, where the Chiefs are 3-0 in the postseason, the Bills are 4-1 in the regular season. For the Bills to get over that hump against the Chiefs in the postseason, we need to walk away and say Josh Allen was the better QB in this game, right? Not, oh, both have these great performances, both are really good, both were a little off. No, we need to be like Josh Allen played better than Patrick Mahomes. I know we don't want to simplify this game down just to quarterbacks, but you know what? There's a fucking reason why these two have matched up in the playoffs time after time.
And they've both played exceptionally well when they've gone head to head in the playoffs. Yes, Mahomes leads Allen, 3-0 in the win loss column. Mahomes 9 touchdowns, no giveaways. Allen 9 touchdowns, one giveaway. So they both have the opportunity to be elite. I am curious about this. Kansas City is obviously chasing after something that we have never seen before, and that is a team go back to back to back in the Super Bowl era. In fact, of the 8 previous teams that have won consecutive Super Bowls, that third year, nobody's even made the Super Bowl, let alone won the thing. So I do think that there's a little bit of pressure. The guys in Kansas City know that. They're not walking in saying, "Oh, really? But we didn't know there's never been a three-peat champion in terms of the Super Bowl." They know it a little bit. But with Josh Allen and Sean McDermott and everybody that's been a part of this Buffalo franchise for quite a while now, they know the history of the Buffalo Bills. They have not been to the Super Bowl in 31 years. They know that they are the show in town. They know about Bills Mafia. They know how much this means to that part of the world. And I am just curious if at some point in a tight game, if any of that matters. When you know how much is on the line, Penik, and that you mean that much to a community, and you could be that close against the team that has continuously put a roadblock in your Super Bowl dreams.
I mean, I think Kansas City knows it based on, hey, when you have a parade, in your city and you get to see the people and see the impact that you have on people, I think they understand it, and you're chasing after that feeling of wanting to repeat it. And then Buffalo, you're chasing after that feeling of wanting it, of actually getting it and attaining it, right? So, I think it does it. I don't know. Does it come into effect while you're playing? And this I've never been in these moments. Does it come into effect? I don't necessarily think while you're preparing, but certainly the moments before, and everything kind of gets in your head and compiles up. So yeah, you're right, Rose. I mean, it's some awesome stuff. And one of the things that I want to touch on again, when it comes to a little bit football-y stuff. When it comes to Mahomes, forcing Mahomes into making mistakes like we were talking about before, is I kind of want to challenge people to put lines behind the tackles. Because this is what I did on one of the shorts that I did. Is the first time that the Bills played the Chiefs this year, what they did an awesome job of is keeping Patrick Mahomes kind of inside that tackle box. And I think that's why they won. Because kind of Mahomes is searching for alleys to throw and places to extend the pocket and try and extend plays. But instead, they keep him within the pocket, he forces the ball downfield, and some mistakes are made. So actually, it was the Chiefs that utilized play action a ton during the first matchup to try and get Mahomes outside the pocket, but try and draw lines around the outside foot of the left tackle. The Bills were able to keep him inside that tackle box the first time very well. Are they going to be able to do it again? I think that's a huge X factor of this game. That was quite a pivot from Rose's question.
No, but it was good. I am curious about this. Kansas City's offense, I think they were one of 3 teams this year, right, that did not score 30 points in a single game, and the other 2 were 2 of the worst teams in football. Last week against Houston, the Texans had the ball for 7 more minutes than Kansas City. They had 124 more yards than Kansas City. The Chiefs, outside of Travis Kelce, had nobody that put up any numbers, whether it was on the ground or through the air whatsoever. Are we so sure that Kansas City has enough offense to get past Buffalo? You have to keep in mind the Bills were number 2 in scoring offense this year. Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're the reason they've won. I know the Bills beat them in a game, I think 30-21.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, absolutely to me, especially with that defense on the other side, where Spags is gonna make it difficult on you. Like maybe Josh Allen does have this great 35+ point game, but it's not because Spags had a bad game plan or the Chiefs defense didn't show up. So yeah, absolutely. I know they haven't hit that 30-point mark, which is crazy to think about. I was looking at some Mahomes stuff today where he's only completed 12 D passes the entire year. Um, but yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think the Chiefs, despite the fact that Kelsey is that guy, they do have capable players on that offense that they know how to use too.
Let me bring up one other thing. Both these teams made midseason trades to get a veteran, highly decorated receiver. And D Hop, when he first came over, had multiple touchdowns, I believe, in one game, had a couple of decent games. Last week, did not have a catch for the first time in his career. He was targeted one time. Amari Cooper came over from the Cleveland Browns. Last week, one target, no catches. These are guys that at times have carried franchises, multiple franchises at times. Penik, doesn't one of these guys have to step up and give me something other than a bagel in the stat sheet?
Well, before Justin says anything, you got to remember, Rose, these guys both had good games in their most recent one. They combined together for 4 catches, 15 yards in their most recent game. So, um, go ahead, Joe. I am shocked that Cooper is not doing
Yeah,
anything
me
for
too.
Buffalo.
Like you thought that was a match made in heaven just with the how smart Amari Cooper is. I mean, he caught a touchdown pass in his first game with the Bills, not knowing what route to run. I mean, that was I'm like, all right, this is going to be a match made in heaven. Imagine where he imagine how good he's going to be when he knows where to go. No, but it's been Khalil Shakir that's been like the stabilizer of that Bills offense, and even he had a career high 12 targets against the Chiefs in Week 11, 8 receptions for 70 yards, and really like. So Rose, the question was, do you think re-ask that question to me because I'm going to answer no, but I want to give it to me again.
You want me to re-ask the question?
Yes, because the answer is no, but I want to hear
color?
it again. What's my favorite color? Blue, sky blue. Next.
Okay. The question is, doesn't one of these guys have to put up some sort of number other than a bagel in the catch column?
No.
Oh, God.
No.
I'm shocked.
No, because their teams have been able to survive and thrive without them. Like you have Xavier Worthy on the other side doing what he does. The emergence of Travis Kelce. If Travis Kelce didn't emerge, I would say yes. But Buffalo Bills, they're able to run the ball. They have Khalil Shakir. They have tight ends that they can throw to. So it's kind of shocking to see how these guys aren't contributing. But I don't think these teams, like I'm not looking at DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper as like must X factors to watch for this game. They could be.
Amari Cooper had 20 catches in 8 games. He averaged 2.5 catches per game after the trade. I don't know. It's crazy to me that both these guys just kind of are forgotten complementary pieces at best.
Hopkins, I could have predicted the Cooper one. Like you said to me, is just wild that he hasn't maybe not come along at least to more than what he is right now, which you said is like kind of nothing for them.
Okay, you guys want to do this exercise? Give me one guy on each team that is not a quarterback that's most important for victory. I know I'm just springing this on you, but why not? Bobby, let's go with you first. We'll all go around the table for one guy for the Bills to pull off the upset. Who is the most important player, in your opinion?
James Cook for the Bills.
Would you like to continue on with telling the teacher
Sorry,
why?
I know. One time I listened to an interview and it was like, all right, what's your rapid reaction to that? And the guy just says that was it. Because I actually think the Bills will need to run the ball real successfully with their running backs. I think that's the thing they have the upper hand on over the Chiefs, where the Chiefs have a efficient run game, but it's not explosive at all. James Cook is the guy who can make this game where, like you said, where they can score 30 points if James Cook's able to spring some big runs. And obviously Josh Allen's legs are going to be a big part of it. But I feel like for the Bills to win this game, it's not going to be Josh Allen 350 yards passing. It's going to be because James Cook has a couple big runs.
Penik?
How about Von Miller?
Okay.
Why not? Especially considering this guy's postseason success, his postseason pedigree. He's about to turn 36 years old in actually February 10th. How do you like that? 36 years old. You got Gregory Rousseau on the other side, who's having a solid year. You got Joe Thuney at tackle. I think has done a solid job for the Chiefs, but you have a guard playing tackle. Got to try and take advantage of that. So Von Miller, man, Make another postseason memory for yourself and add to a Hall of Fame career.
How
I
about
think
you,
you're on.
Rose?
I think you're on the right side of the ball, Penik. Matt Milano, who's a little dinged up, he's got a biceps injury, limited in practice the first couple days of the prep week. He's a guy that's a difference maker. Really good athlete, very sure tackler, good ball skills for a guy in the middle of the field. I think last week, didn't he actually knock down the first 2-point try from Lamar? I believe that was
Yes.
him. And he's a guy that's missed a ton of time the last 2 years. And it's just nice to see him out there. I think that he can be a difference maker, whether it's against the run or against the pass in the middle of that field, where Kelsey will eat you alive at times. So I think that if he can play at a Pro Bowl level, I think the Buffalo might get to New Orleans. And with that being said, let's make our predictions. Bobby, did I hear yours slip out that you've got the two-time defending Super Bowl champs? Keep going.
Yeah, they're gonna get to their third, and it's gonna be special. I predicted Lions Chiefs before the season. I at least got to get one of those teams in there. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Panic?
Bills. Probably going to be wrong, but Bills. I'm rooting for it. Go Josh Allen.
I would like to see the good people of Buffalo be able to celebrate something. One of the most enjoyable games I've ever been to was the Cleveland Buffalo divisional round playoff game. I believe it finished 34-30. Clay Matthews, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way, intercepted Jim Kelly at the goal line with about 10 seconds left. And it was fun because there were so many Buffalo fans there that traveled in and were kind of cut from the same cloth, Clevelanders and Buffalo. Buffaloians. I don't know what the hell they call you up there. Maybe that's something we should start, but probably not
We're not allowed
Buffaloians.
to say that.
Okay. But I'm going to go with Kansas City. God dang, I can't believe it. Get to cover another one of those. So this would be 5 in 6 years, which we've never seen during the Super Bowl era. The Steelers won 4 in 6. But could you imagine if we get 5 in 6 years, just appearances? Is that? I mean,
I love it. I'm a big fan of like familiarity in the big games, right? Like when everyone complained about LeBron versus the
mhm.
Warriors every year, I loved it. It's like, all right, this is appointment TV. LeBron versus the Warriors.
It's a Jimmy
Yeah.
Johnson run.
I mean, this is crazy stuff, but it's pretty good. Uh, we'll get to the NFC title game in just a second, but a quick reminder: it's a new year, even though we're at the end of January. We're still all about setting goals and actually hitting them. So, what you fuel your body with matters, and that's why I want to talk to you about today's sponsor, Huel. It is spelled Huel. They don't come open. This one is open because I've been sipping on it during the show. Huel is perfectly balanced in terms of a meal. It takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. There's no prep or cooking. Just grab a Huel for your most inconvenient meals. It tastes amazing, kind of like a milkshake. So you can choose from chocolate or vanilla. Both are low in sugar, and it's budget friendly with high protein meals under $5. One of my favorites is the one that I'm drinking right now. It is the Black Edition, ready to drink. It's got 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and it's in one handy dandy bottle. So join the community of Hooligans with this exclusive offer for new customers, 15% off plus a free gift with the code football today at Huel.com. That is 15% plus a free gift for brand new customers with the code football today at Huel.com. Start your year off strong. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in mere minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Go get your Huel today.
Hugh.
What really matters for us is talking about the NFC title game. That is the first game of Championship Sunday. You can catch that on Fox, 3 o'clock Eastern. NFC East rivals going at it. At least they're rivals yet again. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels, taking on the Eagles. And yes, Jalen Hurts. He was a full participant in practice on Thursday, which is very, very good news. Although, does a lot of this come down to how healthy Jalen Hurts is, Justin Penik?
No.
Yes.
Yes, Bobby?
Yes.
How? Because you're talking about his legs?
Yeah. And just overall in general. Sal Powell was at practice, and he basically said flat out, like, he needs to be better than what the way he looks right now.
And that's who. Yeah.
I mean, think about like, I understand they have Saquon Barkley, but do we think a team that is playing Jaden Daniels is going to be fine with a quarterback who's struggled a little bit and is not going to be able to use his most valuable, asset, which has been his legs in the playoffs?
Well, so obviously on the short situations, do you think there will be any hesitancy on 3rd and a yard to use the tush push, for example? You think?
Absolutely, and I
Yeah,
think
there
that
already
matters.
has been, right?
We saw that in the Rams game. They ended up scoring a touchdown the following play, but like everyone all year talked about, oh man, Saquon should have all these touchdowns. They should give Saquon the ball at the 1 yard line. Said Hurts gets all these, and then you see it the first time happens, they lose a yard. They lose a yard, which was not an option under the tush push. That can be, that can make the difference, right? 4th and 1 just became a lot different for the Eagles, where before it was an automatic go for it situation. I'm sure they will go for it, but it won't feel as automatic that they're going to get it. So I do think it matters. And we've talked about AJ Brown has 3 catches in the playoffs, right? They're going to need AJ Brown to win and make some big plays against this Commanders defense, because I don't think this Commanders defense is just going to come in and let the Eagles just hand the ball off to Saquon all game. You're going to need some of those guys to win on the outside, which AJ Brown sure as hell does. But can we trust Hurts to consistently get it there if he's struggling with injury and not confident in himself?
Well, I would imagine that they're going to use the quick passing game, that they have to, in part because of what we saw last week. Even prior to the injury, he was getting sacked. Then it ended up that he got sacked a career high 7 times. Now, we all think, I don't want to speak for you two, but I do remember at least Bobby saying this, that the Rams defense up front is significantly better than what Washington has to offer. So maybe that'll change things up. But if you get in Hurts's face, you deflect the ball, that's the sort of stuff that Washington needs. We just talked about the turnover game with 2 teams that don't turn it over. One of the reasons Washington is here and the game isn't in Detroit is because the Commanders forced 5 Lions turnovers. Do they need 5 in order to beat Philly for a second time this year? Probably not. Do they need at least 2? Do they need to win the turnover battle? I say yes. I don't see this being a Washington win without forcing Philadelphia into a messy game. That's the way I see it.
This is where I just hope the Commanders don't, or not hope. The Commanders just have to not lose the turnover battle. Because, I mean, the last game they played, I know Kenny Pickett played the majority of that game. The Commanders threw 2 interceptions. They had 2 fumbles and a failed 4th down in their own territory to start the game. And they still put up 36 points on the Eagles and won that game. So I trust that the Commanders are going to be able to put up 20 points, right? Like 20 points as a bare minimum. The Eagles, if Jalen Hurts is injured, and I think Dan Quinn is going to have this defense ready to try and stop the run, I just trust. I trust the Commanders' offense more than I do the Eagles' offense in this game, because you'll look at it and be like, oh, well, Saquon had 296 yards and 4 touchdowns in their 2 matchups against the Commanders. That's really good, because it is. He had 55 carries. He had 2 big runs, right? 137 yards came on those 2 runs. That you can't take those away, but in reality, they averaged 3 yards per carry on 53 other runs. The rest of those games, that's not overly efficient. So
but
I don't.
Bobby, hold on.
Where the Rams, I felt like the Eagles could just run all over them. I don't know if the Commanders, that's the same thing.
Yeah, but last week I felt like the Rams did a pretty decent job on Saquon in the second half, except for the 78-yarder. Like, I don't think you can say except for, because that's part of the reason you stick with the running game, right?
I agree, but they did a good. The Eagles did a good job running the ball in the first half. They got a big one early, not in the first. They got a big one before that long one as well too. Again, I'm not saying except for that, because those matter. What I'm saying is, I don't know if this is going to be an Eagles control the game, just kind of run the ball at will the entire game kind of game, which I think some ways look. Because I don't think the Commanders are going to let them do that, and they're going to force AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts to beat him with his arm.
Somebody mentioned the game being sloppy. Like, you got to force the Eagles to be sloppy. That's how they win almost every game. That's how they've won in the postseason, where it's like
you don't want to be sloppy if you're the Commanders.
But they're right now they're a sloppy team that doesn't have good quarterback play. That's what the Eagles are. But they run the damn ball well. And I mean, this is now what we're seeing from Saquon Barkley, and I say this with a Giants jersey behind me. What we're seeing from Saquon Barkley is just it's unbelievable, and it's an NFL season that we've never seen before, and even from this standpoint.
I have. I'm old
Six
enough to have seen it.
6 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards in 2024, including the playoffs, which is 2 more than any other player in a season in NFL history. So in that standard, it's something that we haven't seen before, and that's what they've kind of been the whole year. Where even in the first half, Saquon Barkley averages 4.7 yards per carry. All right, well that's good. Well, it explodes to almost 7 yards per carry in the second half because that's when he's breaking off all these big runs, a la like he did against the Rams, against the Packers, kind of the same thing. Just subpar, not good quarterback play, sloppy games. But honestly, most importantly, like we've spent all this time talking about the Eagles' offense, but most importantly is the Philadelphia Eagles have had the number 1 defense in the NFL this year, and that is the difference between them sitting on the couch this time last year and them playing a home playoff game in the NFC Championship game against their division rivals, that they have the number 1 defense in the NFL. That's honestly the main difference. And of course, you have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. We got much more to go on this game, including our predictions for Super Bowl 59. But first, Justin Penik with this word.
DraftKings, baby. You're going to be betting? I know we will. Football fans, it's playoff time. We've got some exciting games to look forward to. And you can get in on all the playoff action right now with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they're offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use our code Football Today. Stay in on all the action. Use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Do you love the thrill of live betting? I do. DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. A little tip, by the way, sometimes I like betting like the drive results, punt, field goal, touchdown. Never bet punt for this game. Never bet punt because Dan Quinn's going to be going for it. Nick Sirianni is going to be wanting to be go for it. So always just bet field goal or touchdown. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. Or turnover, because I think turnover on downs may count too. How do you like that? And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use code Football Today. Bet just $5 on any wager. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Football Today only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours, and you will be glad you did.
Justin talked about the defense. Super glad you did. That's why the Eagles are in a different spot than where they were a year ago. Obviously, Saquon Barkley a big part of that as well, too. That is why I am not overly confident in who I'm going to end up picking. There's one thing I love Vic Fangio. I think he's a great defense coordinator, and he's proven that time after time. So you have the Vic Fangio factor. Justin said no one scores 30 points on him except for the Bucks and then the Commanders in this entire season. But within that, what worries me is Sam Cosmi, who's the Commanders' best offensive lineman, is out in this game. And who do the Eagles have? Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter has been a monster this season. We've seen him. He wrecks games. He wrecked it for against the Rams. He's played 18 games this year. In 16 games, he has 7 sacks, 15 quarterback hits, and 38 pressures. Basically, a half a sack, a hit, and 2 pressures a game. Versus the Commanders in those 2 games with Sam Cosmi, no sacks, no quarterback hits, only 5 pressures. Now, obviously, Jaden Daniels has a big part of that because of how well he's able to avoid getting hit and avoid getting sacked. That does worry me for the Commanders' run game a lot, and Jalen Carter even, forced a fumble in that first matchup. That is why, which the team I'm going to end up picking in, I'm still not confident, is because I also think this Eagles defense can pitch a really good game against a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, he's the guy that scares me. There's no question. And my guess is Biotish ain't sleeping great at night either. We saw what happened to Bo Limmer, the rookie for the Rams, on consecutive plays that cost the Rams a shot at winning that divisional round game in Philly last week. So, Biotish is fine. He's far from elite, but he and his buddies on either side are going to have to help out, and we'll see how that goes for him. You guys like your trivia? Occasionally I'll throw it out here.
Love it.
What? And this isn't to rub salt in your wound, but I am going to do a Saquon Barkley. Sorry. He needs 76 more yards to become just the 6th rusher with 600 yards in a single postseason in the Super Bowl era. So that means 5 guys have gotten there. Let's see how many of the 5 you guys can name. We'll go back and forth. Anybody think that they can name one?
TD, Terrell Davis.
That is correct. Terrell
That's
Davis
a good one.
is
Emmitt Smith.
That is not correct. Emmitt Smith, the NFL's all-time leading rusher, is not correct.
Walter Payton do it in their run?
He did not. He didn't
Okay.
didn't have to do much. And remember that, back then there weren't as many rounds of the playoffs.
Right.
You get a bye. So there we go. Saquon's doing this with an extra game, to no fault of his, by the way.
I'm going to throw a crazy one out there. Did LeGarrette Blount get it?
No, he did not. That's a fine guess. These are all huge names. You got one Hall of Famer. There's 2 others on the list. There's one guy who will get into Canton, and one guy who was a very, very good football player.
Thurman Thomas ever do it for the Bills?
Thurman Thomas did not do it.
Oh,
Mercury Morris?
No.
All
Not
right.
quite that long ago.
Hmm.
Let me see here. I'm going to give you. I'll give you a couple more hints.
It's going to drive me nuts.
The oldest one, the team for which he did it, is playing this weekend. The team for which he did it is playing this weekend. The oldest guy, the guy who did it first.
John Riggins.
John Riggins is correct.
Okay.
He actually leads the way.
Yeah.
All
right, I'm 2 for 2.
Actually,
I
I
had
don't know
more
if he leads
guesses.
the way. So, yeah, that's pretty good. So you got Riggins and Terrell Davis.
All right, come on, Bobby.
Riggins and Terrell Davis. So
You have one more Hall of Famer, one more guy who is certainly on the track, and one guy who is a part of the discussion. He was a very good football player.
Marshall Falk?
I thought you had it. No.
All right, just tell me.
That
Have we had
makes me.
enough?
Is
Have we
that
had
is that a name? Is the name close to Marshall Falk?
Well, the first
Marshawn
name.
Lynch.
No.
Okay, all right, I'm
It's Marcus Allen.
done. Oh, Marcus Allen.
Yeah. Eddie George.
Son of a bitch.
Derrick Henry.
When did Henry do it?
The year the Titans went to the AFC Championship game.
Oh, sugar.
Yep. Yeah. He had 3 games and 3 enormous games. So there you go.
I like
I'm
that, Rose.
disappointed.
Thanks
in
for
myself.
participating, everybody. Okay.
I have a trivia. Who's the last 2 Giants DB coaches? No, I'm just
Yeah, sorry, wrong podcast.
Marquand Manuel and Jerome Henderson.
All right. Let's give our predictions, Bobby.
The Commanders.
Left hand up.
Whoa!
Yeah.
First rookie quarterback to make the Super Bowl since
Ever.
Trivia?
You mean to start a Super Bowl?
Yeah, to start a Super Bowl.
Since ever.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Penik?
I'm going with the Eagles, man. I think they're gonna win a slop game, but I can so easily this Commanders offense is so good and they can score points. They've done it, but I'm still going Eagles. I think home field is gonna really help Philly here.
I agree with you. It's been a great run for Jaden Daniels. I still think he'll play very well. I just don't think well enough to win. I think it's a tight game. I think both these games are one-score games. Gosh, I would love to see the road teams win. I just don't know if that happens. So I've got a rematch of the Super Bowl from 2 years ago in Arizona. So we shall see. All right, boys, when we resume on Monday, we will have the guesswork is out. We will have our Super Bowl 59 all set for New Orleans, Louisiana. Snowy New Orleans, Louisiana. Better not snow when we get down there, Penik.
You will also be there.
What the hell do you think I do for a living?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Everyone but me.
But we'll think of you. We'll bring pictures of you. Is
Yeah.
that good enough?
No, I'm glad. Is it going to be as snowy in Mobile, Alabama next week, Justin?
It's gonna be in the 60s, so hopefully it melts. But
Yeah, you'll be fine.
the city's kind
I
of
don't
shut
know how
down.
that works. It snowed in Florida this week.
I
Not
know.
where I am, but
Very crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. All right, for producer Connor, For Bobby Skinner, for Justin Penik, I am Chris Rose. We'll talk about Super Bowl 59 when we see you next time on Monday's edition of Football Today. It is presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL.